obsessed. So he wasn't happy with this take. Johnny Ramone playing guitar, he was never happy with just this opening chord, blah, 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 blah. Yeah. Johnny just banging out like it's a fucking chord, it's an A or something, just blah, blah, playing this chord. Phil loses his fucking mind, pulls out a revolver, holds it to Johnny Ramone's head for 8 hours, makes him play this chord over and over and over and over again, until finally, like Johnny just breaks and just, and Phil goes, that's it, perfect. Click, puts the gun away, walks away. During the recording, he invited everybody up to his mansion for a party.
Yeah, I would definitely not go after that.
But they didn't really know. Not really.
They probably just thought that was part of the process.
Yeah, kind of.
Crazy process.
So what he does is he separates the whole band and kind of kidnaps them as well. He's mad for kidnapping people in his house.
Yeah.
He separates them all. He brings Joey Ramone, brings Joey into a room with a piano, and he makes him sing Baby I Love You over and over and over again for an entire night. Right, which is a song Phil had written for a band years ago, which ended up on the album actually. They done a cover of Baby I Love You.
I don't like that song.
Oh, you don't mind, that's fine. I find myself humming it and singing it every now and again, randomly, kind of by accident.
If it wasn't Ramones, I don't know actually.
Yeah, I don't know.
Whatever, yeah.
But he makes Joey sing that song for the entire night while Phil plays piano. He puts Dee Dee in another room. I think he holds him at gunpoint as well. Says, you're not allowed to leave this room. You stay here and think of songs that we're going to play tonight. We're going to have a little gig. Eventually they get out. And they go off. They are completely and utterly unhappy with this album. The album actually sounds pretty good.
It does, actually.
They are 100% like, this is not Ramone's album. I don't know what the fuck this is. We're completely and utterly like...
And a little bit traumatized.
100%, yeah. Now, in 1999, this is just to end on this story. 1999, Phil Spector invites Time magazine to kind of hang out in his house with him. You know, let's do a week in the life of Phil Spector. He promises them.
Don't go.
He says, listen, you just hang out. You know, we're going to leave a reporter here, you know, with a camera and a dictaphone or whatever. You hang out. I'm just going to be my normal Phil Spector self. And you write the piece about me because I want people to know who the real Phil Spector is. Because there's been an awful lot of lies written about me and everybody thinks I'm crazy. So, well, Time magazine are there. They, fucking hell. One of the reporters gets up in the middle of the night because he hears a noise. He's, what the fuck is this noise? So he starts like walking around the hallway. And he hears something moving at the end of the hall. He fucking sneaks down the hall. And he looks down the hall. And it's Phil Spector dressed as Batman walking around his house in the dark.
Jesus.
Right? So...
Wesley Willis battering him.
Yeah. So the reporter decides...
and G.G. Allen pissed
normal.
him.
Yeah, exactly. The reporter says, this is fucking normal. So he goes back to his bedroom, goes to sleep. Every night he gets up at the same time, sneaks around the house, finds Phil Spector. Phil Spector, every single night, dresses up as Batman, turns all the lights off. I don't know.
Right, he's a...
Yeah, I know. He should have done
annoying.
it. He should have done it.
He came to do that.
Yeah.
It happens every night and he doesn't film it.
So apparently Phil Spector dresses up as Batman every night, like full suit. I don't think it was like a little lycra one. I think it was like a proper Michael Keaton.
Him. He probably got the actual one.
Actual Batman suit. Yeah. Walks around his house in the dark, pretending to fight crime or whatever the fuck it is.
Jesus.
Yeah, that's Phil Spector. Again, you could do another entire fucking podcast on Phil Spector. But
he
again,
did shoot a woman.
He did. At least one that we know of.
Bastard.
Yeah, he's a terrible person.
Mad hair as well.
Listen, you know by looking at him.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, you know when you look at someone and you go, that he's not for me.
No.
That fella.
Yeah, he does look dodgy.
Yeah, he's suspect as fuck. Right, who's your next one?
My next one is Devin Townsend. The song is Earth Day from 2001. I really like that song. I don't have a huge capacity for listening to loads of Devin Townsend because it's prog and it's long and it's mad. He's a Canadian multi-instrumentalist. Like I said, he's mad into... It's kind of varied kind of music, but it is mostly prog metal, to be honest with you. Across all of his bands, I think and side projects, he's released 23 albums and 4 live albums. And he has that kind of wall of sound style, speaking of Phil Spector. Yeah. He's influenced by that. Massive layers of just sonic shite. I'm coughing like mad now for some reason.
Get it out, yeah.
Townsend was discovered in his teens in 93 when he was asked to perform lead vocals on Steve Vai's album Sex and Religion. He went on tour with him. he was completely like discouraged about that kind of music and the way the whole industry ran. So we started a band called Strapping Young Lad. I like Strapping Young Lad a lot, actually, with Gene Hoglan, which is probably one of the best metal drummers in the world. Another thing he did was he started a project called The Physicist with Jason Newsted.
Weird.
Until the tape leaked and Lars Ulrich and James Hetfield found out about it and lost their shit and banned everyone from Metallica from ever doing any side projects ever.
Really?
Yeah.
That's fucking... Okay.
So they weren't allowed to do that anymore.
Yeah.
So
I suppose when you think of it, there are
no.
There's no Metallica side projects, is there?
No.
You would have thought by now Hetfield would have put out some sort of like country trucker.
So that's obviously in the Metallica thing. No one is allowed to do anything like that. I wonder, like your man Rob Gillo has never even played. Has he played? He has surely played with
Suicidal. I think he might have, but that's
not a side project. That's just like going back and doing a gig or a tour.
Yeah,
or whatever.
The jump in.
The jump in, yeah. But no released material.
I guarantee you, every single person in that band has stuff recorded for the day Metallica call it a day.
Oh God, it's probably good as well.
I doubt it. Depends on when it was written. Was it written in the late 80s? Yeah, it's good. Was it written after that? It's shite.
Yeah, exactly. That Newsted thing is probably alright. No, I've never heard it. But he started to get really, 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 really depressed and had mad suicidal thoughts around 97. So he was diagnosed with bipolar disorder. And he was mad into drugs and alcohol at the time, which...
Probably the escape,
bipolar,
really.
The best thing you can do is to not... That's kind of shit life then if you wanted to have a few drinks or like that. I know a lot of people with bipolar and they do drink and they do drugs, but...
That's the way out, isn't it?
Maybe it does. There's an argument that it makes some people's escape. I don't fucking know, man. I'm not here to talk about whether I think it is or not because I don't have bipolar. Thankfully, I don't think do we?
Do you?
Don't know.
Does I?
I don't know.
Probably not.
He checked himself into a mental asylum. Sorry,
a medical asylum. Is that what it is?
A mental institution.
Yeah.
Where he got to understand bipolar, and it started to mean that it made his music that he was making a lot more sense. Because despite the fact that he writes mad heavy music, a lot of his stuff is really ambient and toned down and stuff like that. And he could never figure out how to link them. So I think he just went, I'm not linking them. I'm going to put the albums out the way they are. It will have different styles on it. So just get used to it. That's probably what throws me off sometimes when I'm listening to Devin Townsend, the jumps that goes between. Yeah, I don't mind that really. Normally, I don't really mind that.
I personally like a good linear line of bands. I want to be able to connect the dots between the first album and the most recent one. And if there's something that kind of skips 5 or 6 dots, that's where I lose them.
Yeah, I don't even mind the albums. I just want the album itself to flow in a way that makes sense to me. And he can do that with different styles. You know what, man? I try and listen to Devin Townsend as much as I can and Strapping Young Lad, but after about 4 or 5 songs, I'm like, I'm on to something else now because it's he has a vocal range of 5 octaves and 3 notes. That's insane. That's mental. Since 2007, when I think Strapping Young Lad broke up, he's been sober, completely sober, and off all psychotic medication. So whatever happened, maybe it was a mix. Maybe it was the alcohol was kicking that off, and the constant touring. He doesn't tour as much. He took loads of time off from me. I think his brain just literally mellowed back out again. So that's a kind of good story of someone who
fit back into the mold again,
who started to understand their own music, their own limitations. He's also a vegetarian, not an activist though.
That's
like us.
The way you want to be.
Just shut up about it.
Shut up, you sap.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. This is a kind of good story about it. So he's come out of that. So he's learned how to curb bipolar. So obviously figuring out how to not take antipsychotic medication but knock the alcohol and drugs on the head has definitely figured out some way of fixing it. And probably not touring too much as well because that's going to make you depressed.
Quite possibly,
and if you get back on the alcohol, then he knows he's fucked. That's Devin Townsend. Not a huge amount on it, but he did... a lot of people told me years ago that the myth going around was that he wrote like Ocean Machine in a mental institution or drove him mad. Some music does drive people mad, but I reckon it was the bipolar and all the drugs. Who's your next one?
My next one is a classic case, and it's Lee Scratch Perry. So the song is Disco Devil. He
always seems a bit eccentric. Is he mad?
I think all these old kind of reggae and dub guys are mad. I don't know if they're like... I think that style of music I think first of all, I have to be fucking mad to like it. But second of all,
super simple.
Yeah.
Although his style of reggae is actually not bad.
As
far as reggae goes, it's dub or grassroots or not
dub,
grassroots, not grassroots, dub reggae.
He does. His whole deal is that he will layer mad shite upon mad shite. He set up a little. He lives in Switzerland now, of all places. Which is real weird. But back in the day, he had a studio called the Black Ark, and it was just this fucking shed basically in Kingston. And he had, I think it was just like a 4-track or an 8-track, and all he did was just like record and bounce the tracks. So we could end up with hundreds of fucking layers, but only on 4 tracks.
Wow.
And he'd be using like fucking kettles and whatever shit he could find to create layers. And he'd make the song.
All through echo pedals.
Yeah, of course. And then he would eventually, his idea would be his kind of dub version of it would be that he would strip everything out and just leave like the bass and the drums. Just he'd try and kind of like a statue. I think it was the way he would talk about it, where you take this block of noise and you take your chisel to it and you start trying to sculpt something new out of this block of noise. That you made, right.
So layer it all up and then decide what you want to take from it,
and then start cutting it out.
And that creates your structure, obviously.
Exactly, and that was kind of.
We've done stuff like that. We've all done stuff like that before.
But that was his way of doing it. He was always a bit touched, where again he smoked so much fucking weed. He doesn't do anything anymore. Doesn't drink, doesn't smoke, he looks at those days as the bad days because he thinks that when he sees footage of himself like being absolutely manic, he's like he pass comments about like there's no such thing as a good drug. Like he'd done damage to himself via weed.
Well, he probably smoked so much that he went, right, I've done everything. I know weed inside out now, and I can categorically state that.
Yeah, no. He's kind of considered to be the king of dub.
Yeah.
He is the go-to guy. To the point where when Bob Marley and the Wailers weren't having a great time after they moved to England, they called him in and made a couple of albums with them, but apparently he stole all the money. That's why even like Bunny Wailer and all, like any of the guys who were left, the original guys, they won't talk about him. They do not talk, they don't mention his name. And he won't talk about them either. Whenever the Wailer stuff is brought up, he goes, I don't want to talk about that.
Wow.
Because he robbed them. Blind.
Yeah.
He used to, he hasn't driven a car in 30 years, but when he did, he used to get lumps of old pork and let it rot for a week or two and then strap it onto the hood ornament of the car and drive around Kingston because he thought the smell of rotten meat was like purging. It was like, we'll get rid of bad spirits and stuff like that.
Jesus.
In a pure manic state, he burnt down the Black Ark one day with all the tapes and everything inside it.
Was that his studio?
That was his studio.
That's right, I heard about that.
He burnt it down. Straight afterwards, he ran out and he spent $25,000 on a set of knives and forks.
Okay.
Yeah, he just liked this fucking cutlery set, and he spent 25 grand on it.
That's real Elton John and Michael Jackson.
Yeah,
extravagant spending on something mad.
So even now, even though he's given up the gargle and the drugs and all that, his missus kind of keeps him on the straight and narrow because even though he's kind of straight, he wanders off into like madness every now and again.
Yeah,
where. Apparently, every now and again he shites in champagne glasses and leaves them hidden around the house.
Fucking hell.
So he shites and he pisses into champagne glasses and leaves them hidden around the house.
Take that, G.G. Allen.
Yeah, because he thinks that piss and shit is the essence of life. So he's given quotes. He says like, "I believe in my piss. I believe in my shit," and he thinks that like.
I can hear that in his voice.
Yeah, I believe in piss. So he's got this thing where he thinks that like all the goodness that he puts in, like the nutrients from food and the stuff that keeps him alive, that passes through his body, travels through him and comes out in his piss and shit. So he thinks by keeping like glasses of shite around, it kind of keeps the life essence in the room. And that keeps him ticking away. He loves like spray painting and shit like that. He doesn't wear masks. He just spray paints randomly around his house. His wife is always chasing him. Like, because he's a messy pig of a cunt, apparently. He's just a fucking, like, the places be...
Well, I found a lot of things that came up. A lot of these people were very messy because they thought, I'm a genius. I don't have time for that shit. That is the most mind-numbing stuff and a lot of them dropped out of school as genius, like clever.
Well, apparently,
incredible, clever geniuses, like, but they just were bored.
Well, that's it. Now, a lot of the stuff that he's kind of known for being mad for in the last couple of years is strictly down to boredom because they live on this hill in Switzerland. So, like I said, he hasn't